Darien Mensah is on the ground as I make this segment on Tuesday afternoon in Miami after settling contract dispute with Duke. And I've been told this deal has been done for some time now and expected to be official very, very soon. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. How do you feel about Darien Mensah and Duke settling their dispute with Mensah? Expected will be next starting quarterback at Miami for 2026. Mensah has been an NIL fact, walking, talking fact for about a year now, right? Because until January of last year, I don't know that Darien Mensah was a widely known national figure, even though he was really great at Tulane in 2024. What really brought his name to the fore was that Duke, a basketball school and a football program not really in the national championship picture, paid top dollar to get him to Duke, believing that he could lead them to great places and things. At the time, 2 years, $8 million for his services felt like a lot of money, especially for what we might think is a mid-tier quarterback at the time. But lo and behold, he gets to Duke, and they end up going 9-5. But on the way to that, winning the ACC championship with him throwing for more than 3,700 yards, 34 TDs, second best passer in the country, right? And we're talking about a guy that was always going to be in the conversation for one of the best quarterbacks in the country going into 2026. And after it became clear that Miami had struck out on Ty Simpson and had struck out on Sam Levitt, who's going to be without Carson Beck, needing to get a third consecutive transfer quarterback with some experience and ability, they really had no choice but to try to go get someone, whether it was Damon Williams at Washington, who ends up staying at Washington, or Mensah. What made this interesting is that Duke chose to fight not his transfer, but the way in which he wanted to leave. I think his agents did a good job out of making chicken salad out of this, because it really is the other thing the more that you dig into this. But the settlement came through earlier this morning. And one of the things that Duke wanted was for the contract to be upheld, because it sets a precedent for how they're going to deal with these things to come. And it's going to provide a template for other programs to use. And I assure you, more tweens will be making stupid decisions without consulting their counsel. And that's how this is really getting out of hand. We've got, 20, 21-year-olds making decisions without talking to agents, without talking to coaches, without talking to parents, without being an adult about this. And this is the part where I think many folks are getting in their feelings, and rightfully so. In this era of being an adult, one of the things that really upsets me is just how little people are willing to engage in confrontation. They're willing to speak their truth, whatever the hell that means, but not directly peer-to-peer, eye-to-eye. Be a big boy about it. And if you got bad news, share that bad news with respect, courtesy, and beyond integrity. Like the idea of just not talking to people because you don't want to be with them anymore or be around them anymore really gets under my skin. And Mensah made a video to say that he was going to Miami without really going through the facts of this. Now, it ended up going the way that he always wanted to go, but with a lot of mess and a lot of dragging his name through the mud unnecessarily. And Duke really got the public on its side, because you're looking at this, what's right and what's wrong, honoring the contract versus not. That's what we're really talking about. That you want to leave is cool. That's great. But there are stipulations to this that make sure that both parties are satisfied, and you agreed to those in writing. This is why these things go to the courts. But what Duke's attorneys wrote in their lawsuit that I think is important is that Mensah violated the terms of the contract by, quote, disclosing its monetary terms, seeking to license his NIL in football and to another collegiate institution, seeking his enrollment at another institution, initiating contact with admissions or athletic staff at another institution, contacted by another institution or its representatives and or acting in a way that has now harmed his image and image of Duke University by ignoring the terms and conditions of his contract. Sounds like they got him dead to rights, right? And there's a whole bunch of money that's going to be owed. But more than anything else, like, Duke is a tier 1 university. It's one of the best universities in the country. And to kind of squat all over its name and image is not, no, that's not going to be good for anybody, including Mensah. Being able to go to Duke, graduate from Duke, get a degree from Duke, I still think that's a very big deal, even if you don't. And I'm not the person that says go to college. I'm not that dude. I really am not. If you have a job, I don't think you need to go to college. You go to college to get a job. Once you got a job, stop going to college. Stop paying somebody for school. You don't need to do that. That's your ego coming into this, right? Your ego needs to be how much money is going into your bank account, not how much money is leaving it. You can get a college education, as my man Will Hunty said, for $5 in late charges, public library. It's true. I would do that if I were you and you had the money. That said, one of the things that I would also tell you is, people remember how you treat them. And there's a whole lot of people at Duke that are going to remember this, people you might have to interact with in the future. There's only so much money is going to do to assuage that. At some point, it's about keeping score. And if you're a butt, people are going to give you a butthole tax, which, makes you look real bad. Now, he's not going to Miami by himself. Actually, he's taking Cooper Barkate with him. Barkate was a guy that opted to enter the transfer portal just at the deadline and came out at Miami. He was the ACC's second leading receiver with 1,106 yards and 7 touchdowns, one of Mensah's favorite targets. You're adding that to Malachi Toney, right? And what we expect to be a Miami team that's going to be really good. I rank Miami number 7 in my way too early top 25. They may go up the next time I got to do this because Darien Mensah feels very much like the starting quarterback there, and I know what I can expect from him. But the more I looked at this, the more I hope Miami feels good about getting Mensah and having a quarterback. I hope Shannon Dawson is able to turn that dude into a winner. For Duke, it looks like they're going to land on Walker Eggett, San Jose State transfer, who's not a bad quarterback by any stretch and probably can do for them what Mensah was able to do last year. But this whole musical chairs of it is really starting to feel bad for a lot of people because you're not engaging it in good faith. And if you can't sign a contract in good faith, people don't want to do business with you. People don't want to do business with you. That's just bad. This is bad for everybody. So, like, one of the things that I've been interested in as I ask around is, how do you deal with something like this? And it is exactly what Duke is doing. It's no, you enforce the contract. And if you got to take it all the way to the court to get a good settlement, fine. That's great. I mean, I don't think anybody wanted this to go to trial because that opens up a whole other can of worms of unintended consequences that have far-reaching consequences for the rest of college football. But for right here, right now, I think this is exactly where we all expected this to end up, with Darien Mensah at Miami and Duke having to find a different way. Some people would say Manny Diaz has this coming. I don't see it that way. Like, Manny Diaz was at Temple for all of 5 seconds before going to Miami and ultimately having to be a defensive coordinator again, then going to Duke. Fine, whatever. That's part of coaching. But there are terms and conditions to everybody's contracts here, and they do need to be honored. I mean, LSU tried not to pay Brian Kelly his buyout, and we were just as enraged by that. I see this as the same thing, right? I'm not picking on a coach or picking on a player here. I'm saying the contract's the contract. And at this time, when money is at the center of everything discussed with college football, that always has to be true. You have to be able to honor the contract. Like ESPN has been very good with the college football playoff board of managers as they don't know if they're coming or going, being a good business partner, saying, look, you guys do whatever format you want. We're still going to pay you the $7.6 billion over that 6-year span. We're not going to go up. We're not going to go down. And if you want to increase the inventory, that's great. That's fine. I think that's cool because they're saying within the bounds of the contract, we're going to let this happen. But if the CFP board of managers did not inform ESPN of what they want to do, everybody would have an attitude about that and not in a good way, right? You can do this across the board. But again, I come back to people remember how you treat them. It pays to treat them nicely and with integrity and with honor. I'm not sure that Darien Mensah did that.